DAW Nation, welcome to this week's episode of In the DAW with NURKO breaking down his song Breathe Without. In this episode, you're going to learn about how to layer your supersaws, how to get transient reverbs, how to make frozen reverb drones, how to process female vocals, and how to EQ your atmospheres. And really quick, we are proud to announce that In the DAW is getting its very own YouTube channel. That can be found over on the DAW Nation YouTube channel. We're making the official move over to that channel on June 26, 2019, so make sure to head on over to there and subscribe for all future episodes of In the DAW and Behind the DAW. And finally, if you make it all the way to the end of this episode, I have something huge for you. So make sure to make it all the way to the end. But, DAW Nation, let's get into this week's episode right now.
I started out with like these guitar layers.
Where did the guitars come from?
One my friend recorded, and then the other was from the sample pack, and we just layer them together. I forget what the name of the sample pack was, but it was just had this really like emotional kind of sounding quality to it. And this was all done after I got her vocals. Sometimes I like to work from a top line instead of building the track and then getting a top line after. The guitars, they just sound like this. So this one is like the one that my friend recorded.
So is that an RC20 reverb that I see going on?
This is the retro color. All I did was have a little distortion here. At first, I kind of wanted to have like a wobble effect. Gives it this, when you like mix this wobble here, and then like the digital, it gives us this like lo-fi sound, which I thought might have been cool.
Wyatt, don't pretend the RC48 is a good plugin, Wyatt.
It is a fantastic plugin, dude.
The RC48?
It's from Native Instruments. It's one of the best reverbs I've ever heard, but Brendan...
We dispute on that one because I hate it, but he likes it.
I don't know, Brendan. I'm sorry, man. Like, I get it, dude. You hate cherry pie and America and babies, but... So on this guitar that we have right now, where is the reverb coming from? Because I see Valhalla's off.
Yeah, I have it on a group. Both of them going through same reverb here. So this one's dry. This one, well, I froze this one, but this one is no like reverb delay. I might have had a little bit on. Yes, yeah. Turn the reverb on this guitar here. This Chris Lord Algae plugin. But one thing that's cool about this is I saw, you know, the Pizzado's place. He does this thing with guitars where he'll take like the Renaissance X and he'll like lower the attack and then like just bring it down a little bit, and it kind of gives this like almost like a transient effect, but it just kind of like punches at the beginning a little harder. It's like a compressor with a slow attack. Ever since I saw that, I was like, oh, let me keep doing that, this dude.
And then you got your second layer, right?
Yeah, second layer is like for the guitar. I had to like just completely flatten it, but this is like the main guitar. And then layered together, it's kind of just sounds like one guitar, but it's two guitars. Slightly different notes being played, like here and there, right here. Yeah, it's like kind of like harmonizing a little bit. And so I didn't really want to just play chords behind her voice, but I thought it kind of guitar added a little more emotion.
That was one of my favorite things about this song is the guitar. I was going to ask about that, but someone beat me to it.
Why do you even come to these, Daddy? So we got the guitars. What's next?
I really like to have this like ambient layer always in the intro. So like I'll take like different kind of like ambient sounds. There's this plugin called Arcade from Output.
I've heard nothing but amazing things, dude. Didn't you feel the same?
Yeah, man, it's like a game changer. But essentially, like you can just like browse through different instruments and then different like ambient sounds, and I'll like find one I like, and then I'll just like bounce it in the audio and then just like mess around with the audio like pitch wise. You turn like reverb and all that off, so it does. So if you're pitching it around, you don't get like the tail. These little small things like this kind of just. And one thing that's cool I always use is from Omnisphere, and I just literally just name it voice complementer. The reason I name it voice complementer is because like I find like a part of a vocal, it just needs like some kind of supporting element that's not just like a synth. So I'll just behind her vocals, I'll just. So it's just like one synth there, one like sound, and then under her vocals, it just gives this like feeling of extra, I don't even know the word, just extra oomph, I guess.
I don't want to believe you've given me up a careless love when all I
dream searching glass. Oh yeah, look, it is part of it is a vocal, so choir. So yeah, I use that in like every song behind a vocal essentially.
Did you process them, or did she, or did someone else, or?
No, I processed them right here actually. I usually do like a separate vocal session, but she didn't have that many different stems for vocals, so I just kind of did it in this project, which isn't the best idea. But if you have good CPU, you can do it, but my CPU has been not good lately. So main vocal.
Can you turn everything off on the vocal and play it and then bring it back in just so that we can A/B it and see the difference?
Here's it with no stuff going on.
Fingertip on my skin, I run through the memory, cause I don't want to believe you'd give me up.
After.
Fingertips on my skin, I run through the memory, cause I don't want to believe you'd give me up. Careless love.
Honestly, like her vocal was already pretty good from when I got it, so I didn't want to add too much. Like other vocals, I'll like completely like compress, add a bunch of top end. But with this one, I thought it sounded pretty good. I didn't actually use Vocal Rider, but if you work with vocals, I would highly recommend this plugin.
For those who don't know what it is, can you explain it a little bit?
Basically, like normally with vocals, before you like do any compression, you would like go through, take like a gain plugin and just kind of like go through it and manually like move stuff up and down. But basically what this does is you'll like set like a target here. It'll like ride the vocal and make those volume automation for you before you do any sort of compression. So basically if you do this like correctly and everything smooths out, your compressor won't really work as hard and it will just sound smoother and just like better vocal. I didn't use it for this one.
One of the problems that I ran into when I first started processing vocals was the exact thing that you're talking about. It's like, well, they're too dynamic, so a knee-jerk reaction is to throw a compressor on. Well, the problem is when they're too dynamic and you throw up a compressor on, it squashes it and it mangles it and changes the tonality of it. So that's where Vocal Rider comes in, because Vocal Rider just comes in, kind of does that volume automation for you, and then when you put a compressor on it, it's like it barely does anything. You're kind of just using compressors as like tonality stuff at that point, right? It's more so you're just warming stuff up like with a Google compressor.
This compressor I used was like very small gain reduction here. The Vocal Rider kind of just did the job. And she might have done some kind of compression.
That compressor, by the way, I use that compressor on literally every single episode of In the DAW and Behind the DAW. I use that compressor. Your vocals are going to be processed through that compressor. I process all of mine through there. That thing is one of the most beautiful compressors I've ever heard. I don't know why, but it is gorgeous.
And then I just had some like very small, as you can see, it's like a tiny bit of blue compression here, a de-esser just to get her sibilant stuff out. This is like just an audio effect rack. Oh yeah, so for the dry signal, I had like just a decapitator to just give some saturation. This is also an amazing EQ for like additive EQ. It also comes with the Apollo. I just added like 12K here and then actually attenuated as well, because like with this plugin, if you add and attenuate at the same time, it just gives the sound of, I don't know, just like a more like analog gear sound. And then like the reverb and delay are on. It's kind of like a bus, but I just put it in the audio effects rack. Reverb's full and delay is full as well. And then I just kind of mixed it in. With the delay, I sidechain compressed to the main vocal, which is cool. And then just the utility turned down.
So I see you use Valhalla Room, the actual good reverb plugin. How do you use it? Do you just open it and it's at 100% and you're good? Or do you mess with any of the other stuff inside?
I used to use Logic, and with vocals, I would always put reverb, I would use buses. So this is kind of like a bus, so I would keep it at 100. But with like everything else, synths and stuff like that, I'll just have reverb on the channel itself and just like mix it in.
You went over your atmospheric stuff. I was just wondering how you EQ that in. You have a lot of really fun stuff going up in the higher register, it seems like, in the beginning. I'm just kind of wondering how you make that all fit.
I have a lot of different atmospheres. Just these ones, I remember I processed them before I bounced them. But like this one here is it's just an ARP, but it's like extremely reverbed out that you don't even notice that it's an ARP. And it just kind of sounds like a drone. But if I were to turn this off, it sounds like this. This is the atmosphere. But yeah, just like cut out the lows, cut out this like annoying like mid-range that it kind of gives if I like add that. It's annoying, so cut that out. Oh yeah, and then I just did some more roll off, and I don't know why I have a limiter here, but
with this genre of music, what some would call future bass and these super saws, my question is, how do you balance your sub and mid bass with all the saws? I want to see your sub and mid bass processing underneath the saws.
I always mix after I do the project. I'll like bounce everything in audio and mix it. So it doesn't, just listening to it, it sounds it could use a little more like punch and bite, but for now you get the idea. So your question was, how do I balance the sub with the saws? For this project, I always have like a sub and then a mid bass, like every project. For this one, I don't know. I think I did this in like 2 songs. It's more of just like a full blown just bass. This is like the main bass in the song. It's full spectrum, but I like cut out just a little top noise because I'm already getting that from the saws. So like all this stuff here, I just kind of cut that out. I normally wouldn't do this, but the only reason I did was just when I compared like a sub to this just kind of punched through better. Like I listened to it in my car. I'm like, all right, if it sounds good, just keep it like this. Just a Serum saw wave with like distortion completely destroying it. That's basically it for that. One thing I do with my subs though is I put this kick tight from Corpus. You just kind of tune it to whatever key your track is in, and it just adds like, for the sub, it just adds in like these like harmonics that I don't really know what it does. It's a preset in Ableton. Just go to kick tight. You just kind of mix in dry wet, put the key to your track right here where it says like tune. When you turn it on, you'll hear just like this like jump in like slow frequencies, and then I just OTP'd it.
So you have it tuned to the key of the track, but you can actually have it tuned to each MIDI thing really, really easily. Do you know how to do that? No, you mean like it changes through each note? No, I didn't. That would be amazing. It's up there by the on and off button. There's that little triangle. You see that? Click on that. And where it says MIDI from, you click on where it says no input, and you select the track that it's on. So in this case, what track are we on? It would be under bass 1. Once we have that selected, so basically what it is it's taking the incoming MIDI that you're playing from your track, and it's tuning it to whatever note that is playing. So it's not just tuned to like the key. It's well not just like the root note. It's tuned to like whatever note that you play. That's like a life changer, man. AU5 taught me that.
We love you, Austin.
Thank you, AU5.
That's going to help you out a lot. It's absolutely amazing, especially when you want to throw a Corpus on something for sound design. That changes everything. But keep going. So as far as basses go, and then these are just like normal mid basses. These have like, one has like 100 hertz cut out, and then the other has I think like 150 cut out, and there's some dipped out, some over here. Is each one of these instruments different instruments, or are they all the same, just playing different notes, or how do you have it set up?
These are just layered on top of each other. And then with the sub bass or the other bass.
That's really thick. I like that. Sounds like a lawnmower.
Sounds like the supersaw equivalent of Brendan.
The saw equivalent of me? What, you calling me a thick boy or something like that?
You're the thickest boy of my life, Brendan. Sorry, let's keep going. This
one's just like a preset from Nexus, I think. Since I have like so much high end in those saws, this is what it sounds like without EQ. Just like a basic like distorted saw. I put this EQ on it just to kind of like take out all that high end, because I have it all in these. I think with this one, a little too much for saw stacks. But yeah, so the saw stack is like taking everything, the mid-range up to the high end. So the saw stacks are like this. And one thing that's cool with these is instead of just like playing chords, I'm also like playing what the vocal chops are playing. So like she goes like, and down here. And then if I like play that with the vocal chop, you'll hear like that same little melody on top of the chords. So it's not much, but it's just like a voicing thing.
So you have 4-ish elements all playing, like that saw stack is just all saws, right? I know they're all kind of processed differently, but they're all just saws, right?
They're mostly saws, but some of them are like, I think there might be like a triangle. Sometimes I throw like square waves in there. This one is just a preset from some trance track. So this one has like a sine wave in there. But I literally use this one all the time. This is like my main saw, a silent flare. I kind of just cut out the low end and the high end. So this is kind of playing, this one's like not as harsh. Serum layer here. Lastly, this was the one where I was like, I don't know, this might be too much, but let me just like see how it sounds. This one's kind of just playing this, kind of like in the background, subtle sound, but it's like one of those things where you don't notice it's there, but when you take it out, it's like it just sounds kind of weaker. But like I cut out a load of the 3K range because that's always annoying.
So is all those four instruments that you just showed, are they playing all the same notes, or is there some notes included or excluded that other things don't have?
It actually looks like with this project that they're playing the same thing, which I normally wouldn't do. I like this bottom one. It's just like less voices.
Yeah, I have a really cool trick to show you like how you can tell, instead of like going in and looking at each individual MIDI clip, you can see all of them in context with each other. Have you ever done that before?
What if it's like you hover over?
Yeah, since your clips are all the same color, that's actually going to be all the same colors. But
that's like 10's new feature. Yeah, that does help a lot. I think normally I would like have different, voicings, different intervals, different inversions. But with this one, all of them are kind of like spaced out. They're not really too crammed into each other, like except for like this one. So like it kind of worked to have them all be the same. It just like depends on the project. But normally I would change them up a little bit.
What was the most exciting part of this song, or what's the part of the song you like the most?
I do this in like every one of my drops. I mean, a lot of people do this in this kind of genre, but like you'll have like the saw chords playing chords and the bass going, but then you'll have like one layer. It's like a drone, I call it. One layer is like, I think it was like a massive patch and like completely reverbed out. So it sounds like this. And then this one is just like vocal tail. I do want to show like how I did this because it's like not many people talk about this way, but I just kind of discovered it. And it's kind of easy, but it's cool. But that's this layer. And then together they sound like this. So they're not playing the same notes. They just kind of add this like nice ambient feel to the drop. Accentuate it. I'll turn it loud so you can really hear what's going on. And what I did with this was like you just basically take a vocal that you like, find something random. I can see. All right, I'll just use that. So just like you take like a part from the vocal and you find like some kind of vowel or something. Just load up Ableton's basic reverb. I know there's other ways to do this. This way is like the easiest. You just go to reverb and you kind of cut out some of the lows, cut out some of the highs, put this in high quality mode. Make the decay time kind of long. Don't make it full wet, but like just like over here. So here's what it sounds like with the reverb. But then there's this feature where there's freeze, and then you just press cut here, and basically you play it. And it's doing the automation that's in the drop right now, so that's why I kind of. But then you freeze it and then flatten it.
That is awesome.
I mean, Logic has this feature too, but like basically now that when I flatten this, you'll see like this, it's just this long drone layer. And this is just literally that tail extended to as long as, this is long enough for a tail. I took this tail and I just added OTT. This is like the dry EQ. And then I distort and like saturate the top end. So I took like this one plugin called Devil Lock Deluxe. I put it to like on the audio effect rack. I took out like everything besides the high end. So it just added this kind of like top end sizzle and then more saturation and then some Valhalla room and then just like the Haas effect at the end for like stereo stuff.
I think the more you can use vocals as instruments, the more human it sounds. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I love doing that. And then if you want to like hear what it sounds like with just like no processing and then the processing, I'll just group this real quick. Here's how the vocal sounded. Then if I put the plugins on. I think when I mix this, there's like this annoying resonant frequency that I took out, but yeah, you get the point. And it adds like just like this nice layer. And then you can pretty much get this, literally use any vocal from Splice or from, in my case, I use the 0G vocal Foundry stuff.
Dude, did you have a good time?
Oh yeah, dude, of course. I was so happy when I saw that you guys were into me going on in the DAW because I always would watch it and I'd be like, dude, there's so much knowledge in this thing.
Hey, DAW Nation, if you enjoyed this week's episode of In the DAW with NURKO, take a screenshot on your phone right now, post it to your Instagram stories and tag me at In The DAW Behind The DAW. I want to know how you like this episode, and I'll respond to you as soon as possible. Also, if this episode was right up your alley, make sure to check out the other episodes of In The DAW with Kashmir, Elliot Berger, Daddy, Said the Sky, Culture Code, and Grab It. Those episodes covered similar topics to what we talked about today. Again, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and tick the little notification bell over on the DAW Nation YouTube channel. And finally, I would highly encourage you to check out our podcast Behind the DAW. The last episode was with Dodge and Fusky, and they talked about how music production schools, the kinds where you spend thousands of dollars to go to, are a complete waste of time. We also talk about the greatest risks that Dodge and Fusky ever took in their career, and why Disciple is easily one of the most well-known and highly sought-after bass labels in the world. You can find that podcast on any podcasting app, including Spotify. But DAW Nation, at the beginning of this episode, I said that I had something huge to tell you. So let's get into it. DAW Nation, we are only 1 week away from the release of AU5&I's advanced sound design course called The School of Bass. This course includes over 20 hours of videos showing extremely unique and advanced sound design techniques that AU5&I have gathered over the last 15 years. It also includes a ridiculously huge amount of effects racks, instrument racks, and project files that we talk about in the course. We've also included a ton of bonuses, some of which are MIDI arrangement templates of over 70 of AU5's songs so that you can see how he arranged his most famous songs. We also include a sound design journal template that we have loaded with over 45 techniques, and you also get a personal 20-minute coaching call with me, where you can ask me absolutely anything. We originally priced out this course at $497, but we ultimately decided to go the subscription route and only charge $47 per month to access all of our content. There's no long-term commitment. You can cancel anytime. You can be a part of the School of Bass for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, however long you want, however long you need. It's completely in your control. And when you're done, you're done. That's it. No questions asked. However, we are going to keep updating the course every month with more and more content. Again, all of this goes live on June 14th, 2019 over on courses.inthedaw.net. That is courses.inthedaw.net. But if all of this sounds interesting to you, and you just can't wait till then, DM me on Instagram at In The DAW Behind The DAW right now, and I will allow you to have early access to the School of Bass. But I'm only going to do this for the first 10 people that DM me. So if you want this, you need to hop on it right now. Otherwise, DAW Nation, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of In The DAW, and we'll catch you next week.